Some people think that traveling is just a matter of getting your passport stamped, having a translator on your cell phone, and a well-planned itinerary. But the most complicated part of the trip is not always found in the guidebook or on the GPS. It's behavior. You know those things we do automatically. Talking loudly, eating while walking, taking pictures of everything, laughing out loud in a restaurant. Well, in your own country, that's fine. In your country, that's fine. But when the destination is China, it's a different story. Some Western habits that seem harmless to us are seen as rude, invasive, or even offensive there. And it doesn't matter if you're a tourist or a new resident. Sometimes an untimely gesture is enough to cause embarrassment. In today's video, Bello Mundo will show you 12 Western customs that the Chinese can't stand. Things you should never do in China if you don't want to get dirty looks or even create a very awkward situation. And I'll warn you, item number 7 is one of those things that no one would imagine, but it can ruin your reputation in seconds. Number 1. Exaggerated hugs and physical greetings. In the West, it is generally considered normal to greet friends and acquaintances with a hug, a kiss on the cheek, or a pat on the back. But in China, all this excitement is not well received. They prefer to keep a certain distance. A slight nod or a quick handshake is enough. Getting too close, hugging right away, or putting your arm around someone's shoulder can be seen as an invasion of space. Even among friends, Chinese people tend to be more reserved, and in professional environments, this becomes even more apparent. Don't expect anyone to welcome you with open arms. They value discretion and formality, especially when meeting someone for the first time. Therefore, a smile accompanied by a friendly hello is worth more than 1,000 hugs. Number 2. Showing affection in public. If a hug is already a risky move, kissing in public makes the situation even worse. In China, displays of affection are much more discreet than we are used to. Couples even walk hand in hand, but long kisses, tight hugs, or caresses in public attract negative attention. Many people will find it strange, others will feel uncomfortable. There are places where this type of behavior is still taboo. Even in large cities where everything seems more liberal, the custom is still to be restrained. It is a matter of respect and privacy. Showing excessive affection in the street can be frowned upon, especially in more traditional places. If you are there with someone, it is best to save this type of gesture for a private setting. This way, you will not shock the locals and avoid awkward situations. Number 3. Bathing and smell. In China, bathing before bed is almost sacred. Many people there don't understand how anyone can get into bed with the dirt of the day still on their body. For them, bathing at night is not just about hygiene, it is a sign of respect for the house, the bed, and even others. So don't be surprised if a Chinese friend asks you, somewhat bewildered, why you don't take a shower before going to bed. In their minds, this is basic, and the care goes further. Due to genetic factors and eating habits, Chinese people tend to sweat less and have little body odor. For this very reason, they have a more sensitive nose. Many can smell that famous crowded bus smell from a distance. There's even a nickname for it, foreigner smell. So, the ideal thing to do is to bring a good deodorant, avoid excessive perfume, and if it's hot, bring a change of shirt in your backpack. And if you can, get into the local rhythm, shower before bed, smell neutral, and respect other people's space. This shows that you understand the atmosphere. Number 4. Shoes inside the house. Nothing causes more discomfort in a Chinese home than seeing someone come in with their shoes on. What is still a common habit for many people in the West is seen as extremely rude there. It's as if you were dragging dirt from the street straight into the family's sacred space. As soon as you walk through the door, you are expected to take off your shoes and accept the pair of slippers offered to you. And it's not a nice gesture, it's practically mandatory. Refusing can come across as carelessness or, worse, disrespect for the home. This care goes beyond hygiene. It has to do with tradition, energy, and protection. The Chinese believe that bringing outside impurities inside can even bring bad luck. So, when you're in China, don't play the rebel. Take off your shoes, accept the slippers, and go with the flow. You'll avoid discomfort and show that you understand the basics of coexistence there. Number 5. Blowing your nose in public. In the West, no one sees a problem with grabbing a tissue and blowing your nose right there, at the table, on the subway, or in the middle of the street. In China, this is almost a crime of etiquette. The simple act of blowing your nose in public can be seen as rude, repulsive, and extremely impolite. The problem isn't just the noise, it's the whole package. The wet tissue, what comes out of it, the idea of putting it in your pocket and continuing your day as if nothing had happened. For the Chinese, this is a difficult image to digest. If you have a cold, the most respectful thing to do is to get up and go to the bathroom. Even a loud sniffle can cause discomfort. And those around you will notice. It's the kind of behavior that can ruin a date, a dinner, or any group gathering. The irony is that, on the other hand, spitting on the ground doesn't cause as much discomfort. Especially among older people, this is still common. Many believe that phlegm needs to be expelled to keep the body clean and healthy. So, yes, you may see people spitting on the sidewalk without anyone reacting with horror. The contradiction is cultural. For us, spitting seems dirty, but there it is precisely the dirty tissue that bothers people. Number 6. Table faux pas. Mealtime. You sit down to eat with friends. That crispy fried chicken arrives, and without thinking twice, you grab it with your hands. In many places in the West, this is normal. But if you're in China, the reaction can be quite different. For many Chinese people, eating with your hands conveys an image of sloppiness and even poor hygiene. Even foods that would be considered finger foods here, such as fruit, corn, or chicken with bones, are eaten with utensils there. And it's not just being picky, it's really the custom. Some people use chopsticks, spoons, small forks, or even a special holder for corn. Putting your fingers directly in the food is only done on very informal occasions. In general, you are expected to use the right cutlery and not make a bad impression. And speaking of cutlery, chopsticks have their own set of rules. For example, never stick your chopsticks upright in a bowl of rice. This resembles the incense used in funerals and is considered very rude. It is also not cool to play with them, tapping them on the bowl or pointing them at others. And don't use chopsticks that have already been in your mouth to pick up food from serving dishes. The ideal is to use serving utensils. And if there aren't any, you can even turn the chopsticks over and use the clean side. Interestingly, noises at the table are not frowned upon. Burping, chewing loudly, or making various sounds such as slurping noodles can even be a sign that you are enjoying the food. But playing with your chopsticks or putting your hands in the serving dish? Then yes, embarrassment is guaranteed. Number 7. Green cap. Imagine the scene. You're on vacation, strolling through the streets of China, wearing your stylish green cap. No big deal, right? Wrong. In China, this simple accessory can become a joke, and worse, a very embarrassing joke. In Chinese culture, there is an old expression that associates the wearing of a green hat with infidelity. More specifically, it refers to a man who has been cheated on by his partner. So, when someone sees a guy wearing a green cap or hat, the immediate interpretation is, he's been cuckolded. It's as if you were walking around with a flashing sign saying, cuckold, on your forehead. The origin of the stigma comes from practices in the Yuan dynasty, when men whose wives or relatives worked in prostitution were required to wear green scarves or headbands as a form of social identification. Over time, the green hat became a symbol of public humiliation. And although the meaning is less rigid today, it still carries cultural weight, especially among older generations or in rural towns. If you want to avoid Snickers, avoid green in your cap. Number 8. Eye contact and facial expressions. We tend to think that looking someone in the eye is a sign of politeness, of interest, of sincerity. But not everywhere in the world interprets it the same way. And in China, eye contact can be a social trap if you overdo it. Staring directly at someone, especially if they are older or unknown to you, can seem aggressive or invasive. It's the kind of thing that can come across badly without you realizing it. If you make eye contact with someone on the street, for example, the expected response is to quickly look away. Staring can make the other person feel completely uncomfortable. In informal conversations, it's okay to maintain eye contact, but it should be a light gaze, with pauses interspersed with subtle shifts. In formal situations or with someone of higher status, it is more common to avoid direct eye contact. Many people even lower their eyes as a sign of respect. And it's not just in our gaze that we can slip up. In the West, we are all transparent. We smile broadly, frown, roll our eyes, and make faces. In China, this can cause strangeness. They prefer to keep their faces more neutral in public. Don't exaggerate your expressions or gesticulate like a soap opera character. It may come across as a lack of emotional control or even disrespect. So, if you want to make a good impression, the tip is simple. Soften your gaze, tone down your gestures, and avoid making faces all the time. Number 9. Splitting the bill. Going out with friends is always fun until the bill arrives. Then the juggling begins. One says they only ate the appetizer, another swears they only drank water, and there's always someone splitting the cents on their cell phone. In China, this scene would be strange, to say the least, and if there's one thing that rubs Chinese people the wrong way, it's how Westerners split the bill. Their hospitality is a serious matter. Whoever invites pays. It's that simple. Trying to split the bill can come across as rude. Worse, it may seem like you are rejecting the generosity of the person who invited you. If the host is Chinese, they will insist on paying for everything, not just for the food, but for honor, respect, and even status. In many cases, it even turns into a polite dispute. One person starts to pull out their wallet, the other stops them, and both insist on paying as if it were a personal mission. Among close friends, the rules are more flexible, but in general, splitting the bill at the end of dinner can seem inelegant. If you are the guest, accept the courtesy. If you are the host, be prepared to pay, and don't expect anyone to offer to split the bill. It's not common, nor is it expected. Number 10. Tipping. And since we're talking about bills, here comes one of the biggest cultural annoyances for the Chinese: tipping. What in many countries is a sign of politeness or recognition, in China can be seen as disrespectful. In local tradition, good service does not need to be rewarded with extra money. The idea that a waiter, taxi driver, or bellhop deserves a little extra sounds offensive. For many Chinese, tipping is like saying that the person is in need or that their boss does not pay them enough. a kind of disguised pity, and no one wants to be treated with pity. Therefore, it is common for the attendant to refuse on the spot, return the money, or even run after you thinking you forgot your change. At airports, state-owned hotels, and government offices, tipping can be seen as an attempt at bribery, which is a serious offense. Of course, in more touristy places, such as luxury hotels in Beijing or Shanghai, the service charge is sometimes already included in the bill. But even in these cases, no extra is expected. The tip is clear. Don't insist. If you want to show gratitude, a sincere smile and a thank you are enough. Number 11. Cash. In many countries, paying in cash is still seen as normal or even preferable. But in China, this practice can cause real inconvenience, not for cultural reasons, but for purely logistical ones. Their society has embraced digital payments so completely that using cash has become synonymous with delay. Literally. If you are in a line and decide to pay with cash, the system crashes. The cashier has to open the drawer, count the change, and check the authenticity of the bill. Meanwhile, the line grows longer, the clerk loses their rhythm, and those behind you start to give you impatient looks. In modern China, even the kebab vendor or the monk selling souvenirs at the temple accept QR codes. Alipay and WeChat Pay are ubiquitous. Digital payment is not a trend, it is the rule. Taking bills out of your wallet, especially in large urban centers, is like walking against traffic on a busy avenue. And yes, it is annoying. Because more than modernity, the Chinese value efficiency. Everything needs to flow. A simple cash payment becomes an obstacle in this mechanism. The message is clear. If you go to China, be prepared. Set up your digital wallet, have payment apps ready, and avoid the old habit of using cash. In addition to making your life easier, you avoid embarrassment and show that you understand and respect the rhythm of the place. Number 12. Throwing your bag on the floor and sitting on the floor in public. To close our list of small gestures that cause real discomfort in China, it is worth highlighting two habits that are commonplace for many Brazilians: sitting on the floor in public and throwing your bag on the floor. In many Western cultures, this is synonymous with practicality. Tired? Sit right there. Is your backpack heavy? Quickly put it on the floor. However, in China, these behaviors are seen as signs of carelessness, almost as if you were ignoring basic codes of respect and hygiene. Sitting on the floor, especially in public places such as stations, squares, and shopping malls, conveys an image of relaxation or even neglect of one's own dignity. In Chinese culture, the floor is associated with dirt, no matter how clean it may seem. Now, when it comes to putting your bag on the floor, the discomfort is even more symbolic. There is a very strong belief that this gesture knocks down your luck. Your bag represents your possessions, your money, your prosperity. Putting it on the floor can be interpreted as a sign of disrespect for your own fortune, a way of driving away success and attracting bad luck. So, when you're there, avoid spreading out on the floor of stations, squares, and shopping malls. And always put your bag on a chair, on your lap, or hanging on the back of a chair. And with that, we close our list of Western habits that make the Chinese uncomfortable. Simple, everyday things that, on the other side of the world, can become a huge nuisance. Now tell us, which of these customs do you have and never imagined would cause strangeness? Did you tip, split the bill, or throw your bag on the floor without thinking twice? Write it in the comments. We want to know what was the biggest culture shock for you. And if you enjoy discovering these curious differences between cultures, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell and come with us to explore the world through the eyes of Bello Mundo. Thanks for watching. See you on the next trip.